It all started 10 years ago when the evil pirate lord Cinnabar murdered your family. At the time, you were only 12 years old and lived with your family in the small fishing village of Clam Beach on the northern coast of Bloodlines, halfway between the two major ports of the kingdom. Arab, home to all lawful adventurers and sailors, and the sinister What of Crabs. Life in Clam Beach was not easy, but it did have a peaceful security about it. And then the terrible day came. It was a clear summer day in Fleming when the huge, forbidding black galleon sailed into the bay, flying the dreaded flag of the Skull and Crossbone Pirates. The bloodthirsty cutthroats were soon racing up the beach towards the village. The fighting was swift and bloody. Soon, most of the grown folk of Clam Beach had been killed, your father and two siblings dying while trying to defend the village. In the end, the village elders had no choice but to surrender the marauding raiders and open the village meager treasure coffers. The cruel pirate captain came ashore from the ship to collect the booty himself. The sight of him filled you with awe and fear. The pirate was a tall, handsome man with a neatly trimmed, pointed black beard and his hair tied back in a ponytail. He was dressed in the clothes of a nobleman, with a fine scarlet coat trimmed with gold braid and wearing a large tricorn hat. At his waist hung a gleaming cutlass, and you could not help noticing that on the back of his right hand was tattooed the image of a grinning black skull. When the raiders had finally gone, filled with feelings of hatred for those who had murdered your family, you asked Raggai, the village soothsayer, who the pirate captain. That villain is one of the most evil men ever to sail the 12 seas of Titan, was his vehement reply. He is one of the most feared pirate lords of our age, a creature without remorse, a murderer, and a follower of the bloodthirsty voodoo death god Questcurry, whose mark is a black skull. He is Cinnabar, but because of the terrible atrocities he commits, he is also known as Bloodbones. From that moment on, you vowed that one day you would have your revenge on the evil Cinnabar. Your mother became ill soon after that dreadful day, and 3 years later she died. On your 16th birthday, you left Clam Beach and made your way to Harabnab, gaining the position of a cabin boy on a ship travelling to the distant continent of Alancia. For the last 6 years, you have sailed all across the globe, but you never forgot the promise you made yourself a decade ago. Over many voyages, you have tried to learn as much as you can about the rogue captain. You discovered that Cinnabar's galleon, the Virago, is frequently seen sailing in the waters around Nankunu Bay, and that he has a hidden base somewhere close to the Port of Crabs. You also gleaned as much information as you could about the notorious city, and so, when you decided that you were at last ready to confront your enemy, and the chance of passage on a merchant ship sailing to the Port of Crabs came up, you leapt at the opportunity. Vengeance, you are sure, will soon be yours. The Port of Crabs is haven to every pirate, buccaneer and freebooter who ply their trade off the coast of the Kingdom of Ruddlestone in the Old World. As you stand at the prow of the merchantman, looking towards the land, you can make out the ramshackle jumble of buildings of the infamous city and the outline of the old fort that stands above it like some ancient crumbling sentinel. The merchantman bumps against the stone jetty, and you quickly disembark. Not only is the Port of Crabs one of the most dangerous cities in the Old World, but a thick fog is starting to roll in from the sea. It is late afternoon on a chill day in the month of unlocking, and the docks are bustling with activity. Standing close to the quayside is a large old stone building, which looks like it could withstand a battering from Hydana, god of the deep himself. Hanging over its sturdy oak door is a faded sign declaring that this is the Jolly Roger. This seems as good a place as any to begin your search for Cinnabar, so you enter the inn. The spacious bar inside the Jolly Roger is packed with all manner of scurvy-looking sailors and lowlifes. The landlord is as big as an ox and has a large anchor tattooed on one arm. No one takes any notice of you as you enter, so you approach the bar and order a tankard of ale costing 1 gold piece. You decide to question the landlord about Cinnabar. First, over your tankard of ale, you talk about the weather and the state of trade, and then draw the innkeeper onto the subject of the pirate you seek. I hear the Virago plies these waters, you say. I'm surprised we weren't attacked ourselves. Not anymore, it doesn't, the landlord replies. Have you not heard? Cinnabar has been dead for the last 6 months. Cinnabar dead? You have come all this way after years of harbouring desire for revenge, only to find that the dread pirate lord has already passed from this world? You ask the landlord how he died. Have you not heard? I would have thought that everyone as far as the Diamond Islands would have heard it by now. It all happened last hiding. You listen attentively as the innkeeper relates the tale. It appears that Cinnabar and his crew were emptying the hold of a galley sailing from Harabnab to Arkleton in distant Analand, where the renowned bounty hunter Conan caught up them in his ship, the Fortune. Unable to escape, Cinnabar and his men had to defend themselves against the crews of the galley and Conan. Fierce fighting ensued, with Cinnabar eventually falling at Koning's hand, having suffered an incredible number of wounds, his body being lost to the sea. With their leader killed, the surviving members of his crew fled aboard the Virago, returning to the Port of Crabs. Soon after, Cinnabar, second in command, Mirel the Red, set off in the Virago amid terrible storms, purposely to recover her captain's body. Many now believe that the pirate lord's galleon sank as has not been seen since, the landlord says, concluding his story. You thank him for his help, and in a bewildered daze, you make to leave the inn. You console yourself with the thought that at least the murderer of your family has at last been brought to justice. As you leave the Jolly Roger, you feel someone pulling on your jerkin. Turning round, you discover that an old drunk, slumped at a table by himself, is the one trying to attract your attention. Just because he's dead doesn't mean he's at rest, mutters the drunk. Curious about the drunk's words, you sit down opposite the old man and ask him what he means. Let's just say you don't want to go believing everything you hear. But I know what's going on. Oh yes, old Dreg knows. Cinnabar isn't really dead, see? And he's coming back, the old man says in a harsh whisper. Intrigued, you press Dreg to tell you more, but he suddenly becomes serious and looks around the barroom uneasily. Not here. Meet me outside in 10 minutes. You nod in agreement and leave the Jolly Roger. Tendrils of fog are now swirling around the boats in the harbour and oozing along the streets of the town. When the 10 minutes are up, you quickly return to the old Jolly Roger and sneak down the side alley next to it. In the mist and shadow at the end of the narrow alleyway, you can make out 3 figures standing over a 4th, cowering on the ground at their feet. Wasting no time, you draw your sword and dash towards them. Hearing you approach, the 3 pirates turn to face you. The burly characters are ugly, scarred rogues, and the biggest of them, who is easily wielding a heavy wooden club in one hand and holding a bullwhip in the other, looks as if he has some ogre blood in his lineage. At the pirate's feet lies Dreg, beaten, bruised, and only just conscious. Here's the snooper, growls the half-ogre. You're no match for us. By the time we finish with you, you'll be feeding the shrimps, or rather, the shrimps will be feeding on you. The other 2 pirates burst into coarse laughter at the companion's joke. Yeah, you're fish bait. Still laughing, the ruffians advance towards you. Apart from the half-ogre, there is a well-built bearded man, missing most of his teeth, and a leaner rogue with 2 ugly red stars running down the right hand of his face. So how will you deal with the ruffians stepping menacingly towards you? To charge one of the pirates, turn to 357. If you want to stand firm and prepare to fight the rogues, turn to 74. Or to try and escape, by running back along the alleyway, turn to 135. And that is where I am going to be ending this section, because now it's over to you to decide. You're going to choose 357 or 74 or 135. Comment below, or make a post below in the comments, and the one with the most votes will decide the next part of the adventure. I hope you had a nice I hope you enjoyed this, really, and if you have, please go ahead and press the like button. Thank you.